Hello and welcome to Flooring Models Kit View Time. Today we've got Tamiya's 1/72nd scale F-35B Lightning II. Now I know this aircraft can be a little bit like Marmite, you either love it or hate it. And at the end of the day, I know there's a big argument out there that says it's not the prettiest aircraft in the world. And to be honest, it's grey. And the other problem is that because it's composite, as in modern materials, there's not a lot of panel lines or riveting detail and stuff like that. So it's quite boring. But I am a little bit of a fan of the F-35, I must admit, especially when you see it in this configuration where it's in the landing where everything's showing. Also, as well, with these things, you get beautifully detailed weapons bays with it. The cockpit, I know people say it's a bit boring because it's just a big screen these days and stuff, but you can do plenty with them. And now I think we've got past that awful ram tape that everyone used to put on them, and they're a little bit more refined and delicate. Actually, they can be quite a pretty aircraft. And if you wanted to, there's a couple of schemes out there, like aggressor schemes and things like that with them as well. So they are very, very nice. Anyway, what we got down in here is obviously the one from Tamiya. It is the Stovall version. So this is like the Harrier version, if you like, or the short takeoff and vertical landing. One down in there. As you can see, we've got a little stand with it, which is quite nice. So you can show it in flight or obviously on the ground, just like that. It says down in here, we've got it in 3 versions. So we've got the US, the British and the Italian version down like that. And then moving around on the box, you can see. So kit number for this one is 93, which I don't know where that comes from, 93. I have to do homework on that one because I don't think it is 93. It might be 93 in this series, but obviously we've gone well past that with Tamiya numbering. But anyway, item number for this one is showing us 60793-4200. All right. But anyway, there's your other one down in there. Quite nice with the Italian Navy one as well. And obviously we've got the British one there from 617 Squadron. So in the box, we are greeted by a very nice way of doing it. So it's this usual thing. It's sort of the clamshell way, which to be honest makes perfect sense for having the seam lines done like this, because the last thing you want is anything down the middle when it is in these. So it's all separately bagged. So we've got the fuselage halves, which is very nice indeed. We've got the engine at the back there. We've got the tails. So there's the vertical, and we've got a screwdriver, always good to have a screwdriver. Clear parts, which I'll have a look at the moment. Then we've got obviously the intakes. So full length intakes by the looks of it, right the way through, the gear, the cockpit, the framing for the canopy, things like that again, looking very nice indeed. There's something, really nice detailed weapons bay right the way through, and again with all the doors and the various parts, that's very nice indeed. And then we've got more things for the main gear. We've got the tail planes as well, down in there like that, looking very nice. And we've got quite a lot of literature. So we've got the usual one about how to make a model, which we'll get rid of for the moment. And then we've got colour pull out, which we'll look at the moment. We've got a big old decal sheet and a mask set, which is quite nice. We've got a little fact sheet as well. So in your little data sheet for this one, basically you've got the different versions, so it's just showing all the B versions down in here. All right, so usual thing, you've got a sort of in flight, you've got it there doing the short takeoff, and obviously you've got vertical landing down in there as well. And a little bit of bump about it, talking about obviously the lift fan, with the main engine which rotates down, and obviously all the different bits and pieces inside, and obviously some descriptions, as you can probably see down in there, about all the different versions of it and things like that. So again, very, very nice indeed. Then we have our instructions. So as I said before, we can have it in flight, or we have to have it you know, obviously on the ground as in our normal sort of way, which is fair enough. All right, so that's all good. Talks about it's got the mask set as well, probably not die cut, so you will have to cut it yourself, but we'll have a look at that in a moment. And then going right the way through. So down in here, it's talking about some little cleanup parts, things to take care of, and pre-painting down in here as well of the actual intake areas, and obviously down in here for the exhaust as well, and things like that to pre-do those. All right, then it's talking about the top side. So obviously there is some lumps and bumps to add to all of these ones. And again, some detailed painting call outs for all of these areas down in here like that as well. All right, so that's pretty good. And then straight off into the cockpit. So there's not a great deal of detail down in the cockpit, to be honest, because there's a huge big TV type touchscreen in front of him, which is all the data comes through pretty much like that. But again, some little bits and pieces down on the side, a little bit of side walls as well. And then you've got that cockpit system fitting up under the top half of the actual fuselage shells. All right. Then obviously working our way down as well, we've got the lift fan and the various bits and pieces down in here. This will be the nose gear area, I take it. And then obviously the nose gear going together, those two halves and the parts all coming in like that, giving you nose section. That then is being attached to by the intakes. And again, looks like going to be nice intakes down in there right the way through. And then we've got that lift band coming through and the shaft from the rear, from the actual engine itself coming forward to fix those onto those ones just like that. Again, nice detail in this kit. A little bit more painting call out and opening up the holes if you wanted to for the various parts down in here on the actual main fuselage as well. And then again, more detail call out, so you're painting and a few lumps and bumps to stick onto the bottom. Over into the actual main weapons bay and all the rest of it. So again, more detail call outs for the painting down in there, and then working our way through all the rest of it. So we've actually got the engine system on this one coming through, and then all the parts being fitted down into this one. So this talks about putting the hex nut just down in here. That's so you can actually attach it to the frame, one would assume. So once that's in place, it's going to hold it all in place just like that. So when you're screwing up from the stand, it's got something proper to hold on to. Then obviously the main gear wells being fitted in, a little bit of painting call out for that one, sandwiching both halves in place. Then we're talking about the gear door, sorry, the actual lift jet door at the back one being fitted into this one, and then the nozzle. Then depending, I assume, on how you're having it, will depend on the nozzle you want. I'm assuming you get different nozzles, and I'm assuming, because I can't see, you get another version, so perhaps it is only in the tail down position. I've seen other manufacturers do this where you can actually twist it into which version you want, such as Hasegawa. But it does look like it's only one. Anyway, we'll check this in a moment. Anyway, landing gear being fitted into place right the way through. Going through, we've got the doors being fitted to all of this one. And again, if you wanted to, you could have the main gear closed or open right the way through onto this one as it goes through. All right. Weapon systems being fitted down into this one as well. So the usual thing, got some AMRAAMs down in there being fitted into those ones. That's fair enough. And then obviously we've got the tail planes and the actual flapperons type things fitted down onto the back of those ones. Then we've got the outer pylons as well. So we've got the Sidewinder X or the A9X being fitted down onto the outside, and then the control surfaces and tail planes being fitted into position. Then we've actually got the seat going together. We've got a choice of various helmet markings, obviously depending on which one you're doing right the way through. And then that one's being fitted. And there you go. There's that big old TV screen, touch screen being fitted down into there. And that one's into position. All right. Then you've obviously got the lift jets in the open position right the way through. And then obviously we've got some nice options down in here. You can have with no flag. We've got the US flag. Obviously we've got the British flag and the Italian flag being fitted down into those ones again. Again, usual thing, have the canopy down in the closed position, and then obviously you can have it down if you wanted to on the stand, or you do have a plate to hide the hole from where the screw fits up into it. And there we go. So it looks like you can only have this thing in the hovering or the stoval position, which is a little bit strange because I thought you would have an option to do it with in flight, perhaps gear up and all the rest of it, or to go through. It looks like it doesn't give you that option at all, which is a little bit sad on that one. Anyway, next up we'll just pop in, we've got the colour call out packs as always. So we've got a huge big sheet down in here. So down at the start, to start with as well, we've got your stencil data for all of them. Then we've got the US ones down in here from VMFA 211. We've got 212 as well, the Green Knights, the famous Green Knights, down in there as well. So again, some nice colour call-outs and options down on these ones. And then we've got VMA 225, the Vikings. So there we go. If you're wondering what happened to the F-18 Hornet squadrons, there you go. They're all off to F-35s now. So that's actually quite a nice one with those markings. I do like that. Or we've got the British option down in here as well, with the famous Lightning Strike as well, the famous Dambusters, 617 Squadron. And then last up as well, we've got 4 carrier group for the Italian Navy 2023. All right, so looking very nice as well, the Italian markings with the different colours as well. What's really nice is, as you can probably tell on all of these, nobody's gone for that garish round tape all over it. All right, so no one needs to see that anymore. That's so last year. Okay, so decal-wise, we'll just have a quick smidge in here. I hate staples. Get rid of them. All right, so I can get these out. Decals themselves look pretty darn good. So again, no garish round tape all over it, but we do have these panels which are done for you, so that's quite nice right the way through. So that's going to make things a little bit easier. The markings themselves down in here don't look too bad either. Some nice ones down in there with the different options. So very good. And again, we have got a mask set, but it's not die cut, so you are going to have to cut it yourself. All right, we've got that one down in there. We'll put those back in a moment. So, start off with the top one. Staples all out of this. Okay, so we do have some raised textures down in here for that sort of round tape area, but it's not overdone. To be honest, I think that's probably one of the nicest ones I've seen yet. So again, it does have the joins, don't get me wrong, but long ago they didn't have the right color tape, but they do now. So that is not a problem. I know well the camera's going to pick that up, but generally that doesn't look too bad. The only thing I've got an issue with, this is actually quite a soft plastic. It's quite malleable, the plastic. It bends quite a bit. It's not as hard, not as I say, it doesn't sound bad, but yeah, I think that's more a case of, yeah, that's probably a better judge of it. It's quite soft. You can see how it sort of bends and that's a little bit different. But generally, the surface detail is very, very nice indeed on all of that one. The fan looks nice and the various parts. That looks all pretty down and cool. Down here on the inside, looks very nice. The actual locating pins are very, very fine indeed. I know it's 70-second scale, but it is very fine. So we've got that one. Then we've got the bottom half. And again, the details look pretty good. Most of them, they're always overdone and, you know, massive and everything else like that. These ones are not at all. They look quite good. Pretty good. Down here on the inside, as you can see, got all the components, got that hex screw for putting it in flight and stuff. Very nice. And again, I think that'll come together quite nicely when it is all in there like that. So that's very good. Okay, so no particular order. Oh my god, some of these aren't stapled. They're actually heat sealed. Okay, that's going to throw me. Right, so I'll start off with, we've got some of the sprues. So basically we're in two halves here. So we get the camera sorted out. So this is sprue A. Looks pretty good. So this is the main gear. All the various areas. We do get a pilot figure in here as well. And it does look like he has got the correct helmet as well. We've got the pylons for the outers. The various bits and pieces. That all looks pretty good. Then down here, sprue B. We've actually got the tails. The horizontal tails down here at the back. We've got the slats down here at the front. And again, all the tape and the details are all here. It's got everything you could ever want. They're very nicely done and very fine and detailed. This wheel well is particularly nice, highly detailed. Again, the trouble with the F-35 is it's got a lot more detail under it than it's got on top. You might want to display it on a mirror or upside down. Because as I say, all the little nice bits are all underneath on this one. So we've got an insertion plate down in here. I'm never a fan of those, but we'll see how nicely those fit in. So this one drops in here, so forth and so on the other side. Doesn't look too bad at all. Okay, now back to staples. Okay, so we've got sprue H here, which has obviously got your AMRAMs and your sidewinders. All the various components looking very nice indeed. So I think if we start over on these, you can see the weapons bay looks very nice indeed. Everything looks quite crisp and sharp, as you'd expect from Tamiya. So this is our stand here. So again, looking very nice. Generally pretty good stuff. The nozzle itself has got some really nice fine details with this one. As you can see, all the way through. Actually looks pretty good. On the blind side, as you'd expect, we don't have any ejector pins or anything else like that to worry about in any of the doors or anywhere where you're going to see. So that's actually very nice indeed. Okay, then we've got the intakes in the various parts down in here. So this is sprue J on here, looking very nice. So again, the intakes, and obviously this is the forward fuselage all molded in one. That's quite nice because again, it's going to take care of any problems or anything you might see of any joins. That's nice. We've got no ejector pins on the insides of anything, so of the actual intakes and that's pretty good. The framing for the canopy looks nice, although we don't have an option by the look of it to have the canopy open. So maybe we've dropped a little bit here as well, so we've got no way of doing that. I will check in a moment, but I don't think we can. So yeah, gear looks nice, good, clean, crisp. Various details down in here. This is obviously for that lift fan, the big old barn door at the front or on the top. Looking good. Yeah, very nice. Okay, so we've got the vertical tails. Well, not quite vertical, but you know what I mean. Down here at the back. So again, doesn't look too bad. Again, this ram area and everything else, what's really nice, it looks to be about right. I would say that's in scale these days. Not overly done or anything else like that. That doesn't look too bad at all. All right, we have got the obligatory screw and nut for the stand with the obligatory Tamiya little screwdriver. And then last up down in here, we've actually got the lift itself. So again, I'm still surprised they haven't done it as you can have it in both. But again, pretty good. Details all the rest of it right the way through. Got these nozzle pits which will clamshell around the outer tube itself with the actual jet pipe. Looks pretty good. No problem. And then last up, we've got the clear parts. Again, typical Tamiya, clear parts are absolutely crystal clear. Very, very nice indeed. No problem with that whatsoever. That's just gorgeous right the way through. And there you have it. I'm a little bit disappointed. I was sort of hoping that maybe you could have this thing in flight. Comes with a stand, so why wouldn't you? So it'd be quite nice if it was in flight and you could do it from that point of view. Also, I'm a little bit surprised where it's only in the landing configuration. So we haven't got a straight exhaust pipe for this one, or the jet pipe, and for everything being closed up as well. Now, I have built the Hasegawa one, which I thought was a legendary kit, and that's going back a few years now. It's going to be 3 or 4 years old since I did that one. And that particular kit, which is over there, goes together beautifully. I described it at the time as being like a Bandai kit, because literally it's almost no glue and everything goes together. And with that one, if I remember rightly, you had a twist system, just like the real thing, where you could have the jet pipe straight back, or you could have it down, you know, obviously in the vertical, or something in between. If you were doing a stove or off the carrier, you could actually put it into whatever position you wanted to. Clearly with this one, we don't have this. The other thing I don't like about it either is we don't have an option to have it on the ground. So you couldn't just have it on the ground, that it's sat there with the canopy open perhaps and all the rest of it. So there's no boarding ladders or anything else like that. Now, I know what people are going to say, it's just a 1/72 scale kit, but I think we've been taking away some of the options. So the options we'd like to see would be how I display it. Do I want to put it in flight, which would be a nice one? We've got a pilot figure. In flight, Fat Amy, or the Penguin, as we call it over in the UK. You could have it like that. Or as you say, you could have it into a landing configuration, have it on the stand, or if you wanted to, you could have it canopy open, powered down on the, you know, the deck, or a little bit of a diorama base, or whichever you want to, or just simply on your shelf, on your modelling shelf, you know, but we haven't got those. So again, I don't know. It seems to be given with one hand, the details beautiful and all the rest of it, taking away the options. So now I would be in a situation of which one would I want to build? So again, you've got the Hasegawa kit, and we've done the review of it. You can go off and find that one, which is pretty old by this one standard. It's got not as nice surface detail as this one's got, and this one's got far more detail, but you have got options for it. So if you wanted to do it, be honest, in flight or powered down, I'd do the Hasegawa one. If you wanted it in stoval, then obviously I'd use the Tamiya one, because that's where all that detail is. So again, from a modeller's point of view, it's pretty good because you've got options. Go with a slightly cheaper option, or you've got a full one here, whichever you want to do. Anyway, that is Tamiya's 1/72 F-35B.